Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to 1 Kings chapter 4. We're going to take a look here. You know, the chapter starts off with about the administration that Solomon sets up, and you know, everybody does it. You see, you know, our current president, he set up his own administration. Everybody has their own administration, so this is common. And then it goes on for the last 13, 14 verses. It talks about the prosperity and wisdom of Solomon's reign. And excuse me, if you remember yesterday, when we discussed chapter 3, we talked about gifts and stuff like that how they come from the Lord. And Solomon asked for wisdom, and God granted his request. We learned about, but I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that, and we're going to pick it up here in verse number 29 today. You know, we see how when you're starting in verse 20, you see how God has blessed Solomon, and you see all the wonderful time of prosperity that Israel and Judah are having. And here's why. In verse 29 it says, "And God gave Solomon wisdom and exceedingly great understanding and largeness of heart like the sand of the seashore. Thus Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the men of the East and all the wisdom of Egypt." But notice it says, "And God gave." And God gave. You see, I just want to reiterate that it comes from God, that all of our gifts come from God, and this wisdom that is here. Now, God does say that there will never be another man as wise as Solomon, but you too can gain wisdom from the Lord. You see, the Lord wants us to be wise in all that we do. He wants us to be as wise as we can, but be harmless at the same time. He wants us to be able to use that. He wants us to have the understanding. And you see how it profited Solomon, and a little bit of wisdom may profit us. So I'm going to read a couple more verses. I'm going to the book of James. I'm going to read verse 1:5 and then verse 3:17. Verse 1:5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him." When is the last time you asked the Lord for wisdom? When is the last time you've asked the Lord for any gift, spiritual gift? It is okay to ask God for spiritual gifts. It is okay to ask God for favor in an area of your life that you're using for His glory. It is okay to do that. Then we go to 3:17. It says, "But the wisdom that is from above is first pure. Then it's peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy." You see, it's when we go to share our faith, especially people like myself that come from, I come from a totally different background. I wasn't churched growing up or anything like that. You know, the Lord supernaturally reached out to me about 9 years ago and changed my life forever for the good. And, you know, I didn't live anything like that life before. I didn't. And, you know, barely ever in church in my life. And so I have a lot of friends who still live that life. And, you know, when I share the Lord and some of them see it, they call it hypocrisy. They don't quite understand what hypocrisy means. Hypocrisy is simply a false religion, and you know, I don't have a false God, and my faith is not in a false God. But when I share with them, you see, I try to use the wisdom that the Lord gives me, that is without hypocrisy. And although some people, for the lack of understanding of what hypocrisy really is, think it is, when I share, especially with those whom I used to party with and stuff, I share without hypocrisy. Because today, I serve the Lord and the Lord only. He is my number one. And the Lord gives that wisdom, and He can give it to you as well. He can give you the wisdom to share correctly. He can give you the wisdom to share without hypocrisy. He can give you the wisdom to share with love. He can give you all of these things, all of these wonderful attributes of wisdom, if you simply ask for them and then believe he will give them to you. So, wisdom's a good thing. Have you asked for it? I love you all. Have a super day.